Topping our politics lead, former Attorney General Bill Barr is out with a new memoir highlighting his role in helping confront former President Trump with the reality that he had indeed lost the 2020 election. Joining us live to discuss, former Attorney General Bill Barr. His new book is One Damn Thing After Another, Memoirs of an Attorney General. Great title. I know it's not your saying, but It's a great title.
Thanks, Jim.
You write in your book, this is one of the most memorable scenes in the book, about seeing the president throw a fit. You call it a tantrum. This is the summer before the election, during the protests outside the White House in the wake of George Floyd's murder at the hands of a white police officer. You write, quote, "The president lost his composure, glaring around the semicircle of officials in front of his desk. He swept his index finger around the semicircle, pointing at all of us. 'You're all losers,' he yelled, his face reddening. He felt we were responsible for the violence around the country, especially around the White House. 'You're losers,' he yelled again, tiny flecks of spit arcing to his desktop. 'Effing losers.' It was a tantrum. I was taken aback and indignant." Well, it's a very well rendered scene. I wanted to read the whole thing for you. But this is not the only time in the book you write about the president and his temperament, which you think you suggest is disqualifying. Did those outbursts ever cause you to question his fitness for office or his stability?
No, and I didn't consider them disqualifying. I supported his policies. I was very conscious of his personal failings, especially his pettiness and his temper when he's not getting his way, his disposition to listen to want to hear what he wants to hear. But up until the election, I felt that if you had strong cabinet secretaries who were willing to do battle, you could keep things on track. And I personally felt that we did a pretty good job of that. But after the election, he just went off the rails. He wasn't listening to any of his normal advisors. He was listening to this coterie of people who were telling him that he lost the eleon.
Well, you definitely write.
I mean, that he was stolen.
That he was right, exactly. Yeah. But you definitely write that that something changed after the election, that went off the rails. But you do write throughout your time, you say that you were disgusted by things he said or did. You say he took a dangerous term after the election. You told that to Pompeo, but significantly detached from reality. His constant bellicosity diminishes him in the office. In the spring of 2020, you said he was acting like a hyperactive maniac.
Well,
you say he doesn't have the temperament to lead the country going forward.
Well, he's not my idea of a president, and I feel that I felt he was going to lose the election because he was not controlling himself. He was allowing this pettiness to come through, and I feel it's one of his great failings. I think a lot of people agree with his policies. They like his strength and his directness, but to the extent they support him, it's despite this kind of obnoxious behavior. It's not because of it, in my opinion.
Your book ends with the conclusion that the party and the country would be better suited if a different candidate led the way going forward. You say there's an impressive array of younger candidates. If Trump runs and others challenge him, which might happen, you never know, would you get involved in the primary fight to defeat him,
Absolutely.
To support one of those other candidates?
Yes, I think the coming presidential election would be a good opportunity for the Republican Party because from my standpoint, the progressive left is sort of showing a sort of a totalitarian temperament and has and I think the Republicans can win a decisive majority, but I don't think we can do it with Trump. He's just too divisive a candidate.
Who are some of the Republicans you're looking at?
Well, there are a whole slew of them, I think,
right.
And I'm going to let them run around the track for a while, but I definitely would support any of those individuals over
Liz Cheney. Would you support Liz Cheney over Donald Trump?
I don't think she could get the nomination. So,
as much as you criticize Trump, now in the book you're selling, and you say you're disgusted by things he did, the tone of your departure letter obviously was quite different. You wrote, quote, "I'm greatly honored that you called on me to serve your administration and the American people once again as Attorney General. I'm proud to have played a role in the many successes and unprecedented achievements you have delivered for the American people. Your record is all the more historic because you accomplished it in the face of relentless, implacable resistance." Why weren't you saying then what you're saying now? This is December 2020. It might have had an effect on what happened January 6th.
Right. Well, at the time, that was December 14th, the states had already certified their votes. I felt the die was cast, the Rubicon was crossed. He was leaving office. I felt the thing for him to do, and what I kept on telling him is, parade your accomplishments out there, leave with some dignity, and put your record before the American people.
So that's what you thought at the time. I get that.
Right, and that's why I wrote a letter that laid out his achievements. I think those are achievements. I'm proud of those achievements for the administration. And I didn't want them to be lost sight of.
But look,
Yes, I am critical of him, definitely, in the book. But I also give him a lot of credit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you, looking back on it, though, knowing that he didn't take your advice, he didn't run around the country talking about Operation Warp Speed, talking about the Abraham Accords, talking about the many things you talk about in this book that you're proud of, the border security, et cetera. Do you regret not saying something in December more vociferously than you did, which may have had an effect on dampening what happened? I mean, stopping what happened January 6th?
Well, first, I twice came out publicly, not only on December 1st to the AP reporter, but also I gave a press conference before I left where I reiterated that there was not evidence of fraud that would affect the election, and I refused to appoint an independent counsel to look into the election and so forth. I thought he was history, and I was right. He was history as of December 14th when the state certified the vote. I believed he was leaving office, and that was that. I couldn't see ahead to the disruption of January 6th. So I didn't see any point in getting up and attacking him at that point, other than to say, look, you lost the election, leave with dignity. And
But he didn't.
no, he did not.